All right, so here's a lesson on adjectives. Right? You've got to remember that adjectives are a very big word class in terms of the number of adjectives or the number of words in the total English language. But they pretty much all function the same way, right? They all modify nouns and pronouns, and they actually modify other adjectives also. So let's add that there. They also modify other adjectives. And syntactically, they pretty much always come before the noun, or they stand alone as predicate adjectives, right? Syntax, that's a fancy word, right? Syntax is the order of words in a language, right? So syntactically is the way that syntax works in that language. For example, if I said, I have a black dog, we understand that black is an adjective modifying dog, right? But if I spoke Spanish, which has a different syntax, I would say, yo tengo un perro negro, right? I have a dog black, right? So the syntax of Spanish adjectives is reversed from English adjectives, or English is reversed, I guess depends on which language is your first one, right? Or we get these predicate adjectives, we get these predicate adjectives where tall and I are the same things. And we're not going to really get into predicate adjectives until we get into sentence structure. So you're going to have to hold off on that a little bit. But kind of a short answer here is that if you have a form of the verb to be, or if you have a linking verb, remember those are the brass G and the 5 senses, then if there's an adjective over here, you've got a predicate adjective, which is linked. That's why we call them linking verbs, which is linked by, or is made equivalent by the form of the verb to be. Okay, so adjectives are pretty easy to spot because they usually show up in fairly predictable places in a sentence, either before a noun or a pronoun or somewhere after that form of the verb to be or that linking verb. Right? And so after you've identified the nouns and the pronouns and the verbs and the prepositions and conjunctions in a sentence that you are analyzing, look for words that are before nouns and which modify nouns or are standing alone, but which could modify a noun. And I know we haven't talked about prepositions and conjunctions yet, but we're going to. But this is really a key strategy, is that you go through, and you do these first, nouns, pronouns, and you do these second, and then you do these third, and usually all you're left with is adjectives and adverbs at that point. So when you kind of break down a sentence, and again, we're learning a lot of this, how to break down sentences, because that makes us better readers, and that also makes us better writers. You can't use a lot of the punctuation in the English language unless you know grammar, like part of speech and sentence structure. Right? Oops. Sorry. So let's look at some examples here, right? So these, as we know, is a demonstrative pronoun. We know are is a verb. We know my is a possessive pronoun. Red, we know shoes is a noun. So, aha, here's an adjective, right? The word the, maybe we'll come back to that. Angry, I don't know, here's a noun. Here is a transitive verb. Because mailman is a direct object and it's a noun. What about the rest of these? Well, the is an adjective. Angry is an adjective. The is an adjective. Look at all these. And scared, in this case, is an adjective as well. Right? A why, that's an interrogative pronoun. Do not, don't, that's a verb plus an auxiliary verb, right? Not is an auxiliary verb. You is a personal pronoun. Eat is a transitive verb. The spicy noodles is a noun. Tonight deals with time. This is an adverb. We'll talk about those later, so let's not get too crazy about that. But aha, here's the adjective, here's the adjective, right? Two more, right? We got a personal pronoun. We got a form of the verb to be. And sleepy, that's an adjective. And here's one of those predicate adjectives that I was talking about. Let's see, we is a pronoun. Will is a verb. In this case, it's actually the auxiliary verb. Become is a verb. It's actually a linking verb. Aha, here's an adjective. And again, here's one of those predicate adjectives. And again, we'll talk about that more in an upcoming lesson, so don't get too hung up on that one. I'm not going to ask you to know it till later. Right? Again, this all comes together in a big system. A couple more, right? Ernesto is a noun, verb, possessive pronoun, noun. Here's the adjective. Right, fourth, but here's a noun, verb, infinitive verb. This is actually a preposition. Again, we haven't talked about those yet. And this is a noun. Here's the adjective, adjective. I'm going super fast. You can pause it if you need to. Right. Here's a demonstrative pronoun. This is a linking verb. This case, it's like a preposition. Vomit is a noun. Yeah, fried vomit. That smells like fried vomit. Here's a personal pronoun. Auxiliary verb. Main verb is form of the verb to be. Here's a gerund verb. That's what they've been doing. There's a preposition. Again, we'll get to those later. Here's a noun. There's my adjective. That modifies months, right? It also helps too to draw those arrows between the adjective and what it modifies. The fourth modify player, the modifies bench. Ernesto is my other cousin. Okay, so it helps to draw those arrows as well. And on your test you can do that. Just put your finger right on the screen in Moodle and try to link those together, or use some scratch paper. Right? I should have said this earlier. I apologize for that. Right? Articles. Remember that the three English articles, a, an, and the, are adjectives. This is a place where we're kind of lucky, right? Our articles don't have gender, right? If you spoke Latin or French or Spanish, you got to, those of you who are in Spanish right now, and French, you're learning that those articles have genders, right? So let's look at a couple examples here, right? So the actually, let's go back here. Right, so the actually modifies dog, and modifies cookie, and an modifies adjective. Okay, so that's how those articles are working. And you give more information about those, right? And so that's it. Thanks for watching.